Before starting this video, I do want to give a thank you to my patrons that support the channel. And if you would like to support the channel, there are some great benefits for you in the link down below. So with that, let's get into today's video. Hey, what's going on YouTube? This is Devin coming back at you with another video today on Pub Slump MTG. So with this video, I'm going to go over Tevesh, Szat, Doom of Fools, as well as Jeska, Thrice, Reborn in a CEDH setting. So with this deck, I've been kind of switching back and forth between Jeska as well as Roger. The main reason why I have been is because Roger was actually my first commander with Tevesh, Szat because they're a classic pair. I love the idea of just turn 1 Tevesh, Szat as well as playing Roger the same turn, sacrificing Roger to draw 3 cards to refill your hand. But don't get me wrong, I do love Roger for all that he does. However, I do feel like Jeska, Thrice Reborn is a little bit more consistent because she gives me a lot more wins in that instance, where if I do get infinite mana one way or another in this deck, there's a way where I could have an outlet to kill everybody on the spot with Jeska's ability. So overall, I mean, I like to switch back and forth. However, I do feel like I find Jeska a little bit more strong. Don't get me wrong, I love Roger, I love what he does. I do find Jeska more powerful though. But I love Tevesh, Szat as a commander. I mean, he just looks wicked and he gives us an insane amount of card draw on top of that. So you're probably thinking to yourself, hey, this is a pretty old deck. Why are you bringing it up now all of a sudden? Commander Legends was about 2 to 3 years ago. Well, the biggest reason why I wanted to point it out today more than ever is because we got new Secret Lair art of Tevesh, Szat as well as Jeska, Thrice Reborn, and it absolutely looks wicked. I love the art. I'm a big metalhead. I'm actually going to be seeing Metallica this Friday. I'm still kind of weirded out that they're still playing and actually still touring around, but they are, and I'm super excited for it. I mean, aside from the concert, I'm a big metalhead, so seeing this art exclusively looks pretty awesome. So I'm really excited to see what they come up with next as far as Secret Lair arts, but with this one specifically, this one's an instant buy. This one looks very wicked and metal. So aside from the Secret Lair, I have been piloting this deck for quite a while, either with Jeska or with Roger, and I've had a couple things that I've learned and experienced, so I do want to share with you. I do want to talk about the game plan, and most of all, talk about the win cons of the deck. So when it comes to Rakdos colors, speed is everything, especially winning the game as fast as you can. So this is a turbo strategy using ad nauseum. So essentially you want to draw as much cards so that you can find a win con in the deck. So ad nauseum is a great include. I mean, it's one of the best cards in CEDH, if not the best card, because you could just find your win cons as you draw through your whole entire library. I mean, you're going to be losing life in the process, but most likely you're going to be drawing into some sort of win con with ad nauseum. So in this deck, I typically try to get a turn 2 ad nauseum or even a turn 3. It's hard to get a turn 1 ad nauseum, but getting a turn 2 to turn 3 consistently is pretty great. On top of that, I do like getting Tevesh, Szat, Doom of Fools out as early as I can, mainly so that I can get some card advantage along the process of putting them on the battlefield, making thralls, and then sacrificing them later. So for example, you do want a lot of fast mana like Mana Crypt and Jeweled Lotus, the classic all-stars in CEDH, but these are excellent in the deck because if we do get a turn 1 Tevesh, Szat, we could get thralls on the battlefield. We can make sure we're getting ahead. Obviously with these two, these are Chef's Kiss, because if you do have these in your opener, you're just going to be getting a Tevesh, Szat on turn 1, so this is excellent in the deck. Other cards I did want to mention are some great rituals like Cloying the Weak, Infernal Plunge, Dark Ritual, and Cabal Ritual. So we don't have green in our mana pool, so we're not really going to have a lot of ramp. However, what Rakdos does very well is rituals. For example, with Cloying the Weak and Infernal Plunge, you're going to be sacrificing creatures so that you can get a burst of mana. On top of that, with Cabal Ritual, because we are in a little bit of a self-mill theme, Cabal Ritual is going to be excellent because instead of getting 3 mana in the air, you're going to get 5 mana instead. So obviously these are classic all-stars to add into the deck. However, of course, we do want to get a turn 1 Tevesh, Szat because if we get the advantage early on, if we get so much card draw early on in the game, we're just going to be that much more ahead with our opponents. I did also want to talk about some cards that pair very well with Tevesh, Szat. This one's a very interesting include because I feel like it's kind of iffy. It's something that I am considering taking out here and there, but honestly, it does so much work in our deck with Purpho's God of the Forge. I know this is a very interesting one because this is more for grindy games, because if you do have Tevesh, Szat on the battlefield and Purpho's God of the Forge, and somebody is playing a stacks deck and you can't really get card advantage in a way, or you can't really get any sort of advantage and your opponents can't either, and you are in a grindy game, there's a way where you can keep on dealing 4 damage to each opponent. If you keep on upticking Tevesh Szat, each time you're going to be dealing 4 damage total because you're going to be making throws on the battlefield. And on top of that, again, if you are on a grindy game with Perforos and Tevesh Szat, you can just keep on making tokens on the battlefield, then buffing them up with Perforos. So again, for grindy games, situational, I feel like Perforos is an excellent card in the deck. Also, it could be a win con potentially with some other cards and combos in our deck as well. Another card that's been quite insane for me in the deck is using Skull Clamp, because you're making 0-1 thralls. So every time that you're putting thralls on the battlefield and you have Skull Clamp, you don't even need to use that other ability of Tevesh Szat by sacrificing a thrall. You could just constantly equip your thralls by paying 1 mana to draw 2 cards. Say for example, you have like 3 thralls on the battlefield and you sacrifice all of them with Skull Clamp. You're going to be drawing 6 cards, so Skull Clamp is an insane include in the deck. It's got me so much wins because, for example, I had a couple throws on the battlefield and I had no cards in hand. I drew into Skull Clamp one game, and then that was kind of history because I had a lot of throws on the battlefield. Essentially, in a way, it kind of felt like ad nauseum because I paid 5 mana into it by sacrificing 5 throws and drawing 10 cards, so that alone is pretty insane with Tevesh Szat and Skull Clamp. On top of that, we do have the best tutors in the game, like Vampiric Tutor and Demonic Tutor. However, I do want to touch on Beseech the Mirror because it does have that bargain ability. You could sacrifice a token so that you could have that bargain ability activated. So with Tevesh Szat, we're making so much tokens on the battlefield with thralls, so it's going to be easy to get that bargain ability online. So in a way, I do feel like in some situations, especially in this deck, it's better than Vampiric Tutor or Demonic Tutor because you could use that bargain ability to sacrifice one of your thralls so that you could get a mana value 4 or less card and cast it for free. I did discuss this in another video, why I think Beseech the Mirror could possibly be better than Demonic Tutor. I'll post the link above here, so I'm not going to talk about it too much, but with this deck, it's very viable in the deck because we're making so much thrall tokens on the process. However, the strategy is pretty simple. We want to get an early ad nauseum with rituals or fast mana. On top of that, we also do have Tevesh Szat. We do want to get out early if we do not have that ad nauseum so that we can get advantage in the game. So with all that said, let's move on to winning the game. So I do want to talk about one of the cleanest combos in the deck, and that's using Twin Flame and Dualcaster Mage. So in total, this does cost 5 mana to cast. As long as you target something else with Twin Flame, and then you, in response, use Dualcaster Mage to copy Twin Flame so that you make infinite Dualcaster Mages on the battlefield. This is just a clean-cut way to win, especially in Rakdos colors, because we don't have blues so that we can get Thassa's Oracle out on the battlefield. However, if you do want to steal someone else's Thassa's Oracle, you could easily do so with Praetor's Grasp. In most situations, especially in my playgroup where we play a lot of CEDH, there's this one person that always just only has Thassa's Oracle as its win condition and nothing really else out there besides just beating combat damage. However, with Praetor's Grasp, I usually steal his Thassa's Oracle, so he can't really win the game. I know that kind of sounds unfun, but we are CEDH. We're trying to win as fast as we can, so usually I'll try to do a Praetor's Grasp pretty early on, so later on, if I do draw into a Tainted Pact, I could easily do so and then play Thassa's Oracle, then Tainted Pact to win the game there. On top of that, I do have some various Chain of Smog combos in the deck, mainly because there's a large variety of them. For example, with Chain of Smog and Stormkill Artist, you essentially play Chain of Smog, copying it all the time so that you have infinite treasures with Stormkill Artist. You could use all those treasures that you gained from Stormkill Artist to sink it into Jeska, Thrice Reborn, so that you could ping everybody in the face each time. It's up to 3 targets you deal X damage to. However, that's an easy way to close out the game is by using this combo so that you can use Jeska, Thrice Reborn to ping everybody until they're dead. So another way to make Chain of Smog very useful is by using Siegemore Witch. It has that Magecraft ability of making 1/1 black-green pest creature tokens on the battlefield. So essentially with this combo, you could essentially get infinite amount of tokens on the battlefield. You could sacrifice with Tevesh Szat, or if you do have Perforos on the battlefield, it's going to be a good game for your opponents because you're going to be blasting everybody in the face with Perforos with all those tokens entering the battlefield. So Perforos overall, it could be a little bit clunky. However, having that ability of either using Tevesh Szat to put tokens out on the battlefield, dealing 4 damage to each opponent, or if you have this combo online, there's a way to win the game just by itself. I did also want to talk about a high risk, high reward combo in the deck that's honestly won me so much games is by using Animate Dead and World Gorger Dragon. Essentially, if you Animate Dead and then attach it to World Gorger Dragon in the graveyard, World Gorger Dragon will enter the battlefield. You can tap all your mana in response to World Gorger Dragon, exiling all other permanents you control, including the Animate Dead, and because Animate Dead left the battlefield, World Gorger Dragon will have to go back to the graveyard. So you can rinse and repeat this for infinite mana. And of course, in our command zone, Jeska Thrice Reborn is there to take advantage of all that infinite mana by essentially blasting everybody in the face and then coming back to the command zone, blasting everybody in the face again by casting it back and forth until everybody is dead. We do have two other options with Animate Dead, the same exact cards with Necromancy and Dance of the Dead. These are two options that you could use in replacement of Animate Dead. I mean, I run all three because of the consistency you could have with World Gorger Dragon. There's a lot of ways where you could entomb World Gorger Dragon so you could put it into the graveyard ready to use with Animate Dead so that you could win the game on the spot. But I do want to say World Gorger Dragon is a little iffy at times because there's sometimes where people have exiled my World Gorger Dragon in response so that I basically exiled all my stuff on the battlefield and I couldn't really get them back, and honestly I couldn't get back into the game by any means after that. So that is a recommendation. However, I would recommend having some cards to protect your win like Interaction, like Deflecting Swat in your hand, as well as Defense Grid on the battlefield so that you can make your opponent's spells cost 3 more to cast so that you won't have to be interrupted by anybody trying to disrupt your spells and also trying to disrupt your win con as well. So those are some of the win cons in the deck. However, that's going to do it for me, guys. Thank you guys so much for coming by and watching this video on Tevesh, Szat, Doom of Fools, and Jeska Thrice Reborn in a CEDH setting. I like to do these CEDH deck techs a lot. It's one of my favorite formats in Commander. But what I find so impactful for these two commanders is the fact with Tevesh Szat, you are getting the card advantage and you're putting the tokens on the battlefield, and on top of that you do have your win con in the command zone with Jeska Thrice Reborn. So these two in combination are perfect. I know a lot of people would rather play Tymna Jeska because you are adding a color pair of white, so you have a lot of stacks interaction that you could have in that deck. However, Tevesh Szat is my boy. I've been playing him ever since Commander Legends came out, so I feel like personally I do have a bias towards Tevesh Szat. Plus, he's won me a lot of games by getting so much card advantage, and on top of that, I have got his ultimate a couple of times, so there is that option there too. But with this deck, I do love it, especially the fact that we do get new metal versions from the Secret Lair. So when I do get this in the mail, it's an easy swap from the old art, putting this new art in there because it absolutely looks incredible. I love metal a lot, so it's a personal bias of mine, and I'm excited that these are two very good commanders instead of just random commanders that are metal. I mean, don't get me wrong, Nekusar is powerful, but I like these versions a lot better. However, let me know down below in the comments, do you plan on buying the Secret Lair? Again, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And with that out of the way, thank you for stomping by.